Is it recording? I didn't see. Yeah, it says rec. Okay. Again, so this is, I'm Katti, currently in Sydney, most of the time of my year in Berlin. And from Berlin, I'm a solution-focused coach and a writer. And I also teach creative writing. So from those two worlds, we're going to come and combine those two worlds today. We're going to do some solution-focused inspired creative writing to nourish our mental well-being today. I want to share a bit of the journey that took me to giving sessions like this. I think when I started my solution-focused training in Berlin, like more than 10 years ago, after the first training, I was so addicted to solution focus, and I wanted to have solution focused sessions all the time, not only give them, not only coach people, but also I wanted to be a coachy all the time because I just loved what it did to my mind, to my brain. When I heard solution focused questions and when I had the beautiful chance to dive into them, but of course it's not something that I could afford every day. As I started coaching myself by just writing down solution focused questions and answering them, like sometimes just setting a time and say, like, I'm going to write down a solution focused question and then do some journaling about it. And that was actually very, very helpful for me. And that's why I started sharing that with other people. And as I also do a lot of creative writing, and creative writing, I would say, allows me to see the world from a more poetic kind of view. I often combine those two. So there's so it's not only strictly solution-focused questions, but there are some poetic angles to that too. I mean, you will have the chance to see what it is. So we will actually do a whole writing session together. That means I will give writing prompts, then say how much time we have, and then you can take the time to write down anything that comes to mind when you hear that question. I will also be writing. I usually participate in my own writing sessions. So I will always say something like, we have 5 minutes now, we have 10 minutes now, or something like that. And then you can choose whether you want to keep your device on, or you are also allowed to switch your camera off for that. I mean, you're allowed to switch it off in any case, but if you need that, kind of for your writing to switch off your camera, you can do that too. It's always nice for me when I say, okay, next prompt is coming now, to see some of the faces come alive again and say hello, so that I see there's some living human being feedback in the room. And I will give you some notes now just to let you know a bit about the space that I want to be co-creating here with you together, and some of the guidelines. So as you can see, I have the second device on in order to copy paste stuff. And my first device is where you can see my face. So the solution focused creative writing is, you can use that to nourish your mental wellness. That's what I do a lot. I also do that a lot. Sometimes I only use one prompt, and I do that a lot in times when I'm struggling emotionally. Sometimes I do sometimes I have a solution focused poetic bedtime diary to just ask myself one question, write down a few answers right before I go to bed, so that I can take those into my dreams and feel like they help me wake up with beautiful thoughts, hopefully. So you can use that for that, or you can also use it to craft poetic works. Maybe you will come out of the session with like being like, wow, I wrote this. This sounds like a little poem. And of course, you can also use it to use with clients, like I do. Like I do it with clients on workshops. I do it, yeah. Sometimes I do it in team coaching. Sometimes I do it in one-on-one coaching sessions with people. It always depends on what the clients, what the coaches need. Of course, sometimes they request that because I'm known for doing that. So people would ask me, can we like kind of write a vision about our future, and can you help us doing that by hosting a journaling session for us? And I also, want to give you some guidelines for the writing session, which is your paper is your secret space. That means anything you write down today can stay your secret. There's no pressure to share anything. That's always very important for me to say, because it allows us to feel even more kind of freedom, more permission while you're writing. You can let out anything that comes out. And later we will have time to discuss and share experiences, but you don't have to share anything that you wrote. Of course you can. Sometimes it's like, oh, I need to share this. I had this huge revelation while writing and I want to share it. Of course, you will always be allowed to do that. But first, like, approach the writing as something that no one else will have to see. It's like your secret diary. I recommend to write in a stream of consciousness kind of style. That's what I do a lot of times. That means, like, if I give you a prompt, if you hear a prompt, I recommend starting writing even before you know the answer. So what I do a lot of times, like when I hear prompt is when I hear my own prompt, because that's usually where I hear creative writing prompts is in my own writing workshop, is like sometimes I even start repeating the prompt first. It's like, what does she want from me now? She wants me to write down beautiful moments. Okay, what can I come up with now? And then it's like, I'm writing down, I'm thinking live on paper, and then I let myself be surprised what comes. So I feel like the stream of consciousness kind of writing allows me to come up with ideas, thoughts, whatever, feelings that I wouldn't have otherwise. But this is only a recommendation. For some people, it's easier to write in a different way. The third thing is rephrase the prompt if needed. That means if the prompt, like sometimes I give time frames for a prompt, as in like, imagine your life 3 months from now, or things like that. And if that doesn't work for you, if it's like, no, I want to imagine my life tomorrow or a year from now, or something like that, you can always change that. Also, about anything else in the prompt, anything else, when you feel like there's resistance inside you, or there's some like, this prompt is not for me, then that resistance, of course, is your biggest friend who's giving you a direction, saying you want something else. So rephrase it in a way that it works for you. So those are the 3 main guidelines for the writing session. So what you will need is either a piece of paper and a pen to actually do a handwritten session, or just do it on your device, as I will do. And I want to give you a link to my website, a hidden link that I created for you, where you can also see those prompts. I want to see if the copy paste, now copy paste is working. Where you can look up all the prompts. I will leave this website open for another 2 weeks at least, so that you can have a chance to copy paste them and take them with you. You can share them with other people too. It would be nice if you mention you got them from me. And what you will also see on my website, on that hidden link that I created just for this conference here, is a button that says virtual coffee. That means I'm inviting you to have a virtual coffee with me afterwards. If something comes up after the session, if you just want to share, if you're just, whether you're fascinated or whether it raise some other questions inside you, or whether you want to discuss, hey, can we do can we facilitate a workshop like that together, or whatever it is, whatever comes up after, or you just feel like, oh, I would just love to have a chat with Katti after this, you can schedule a virtual coffee with me to have some solution-focused chats. I always love to stay connected with people after giving workshops like this. And I always love hearing what has come alive in the participants. So that's my invitation for you. And if you are ready, we're going to start with the first prompt. I'm going to copy paste it first and then give a moment to ask if you have questions before we start this whole thing. So first prompt is good touch moments. We will have 5 minutes for that. Think back over the last days or weeks. Write about a few moments when your skin or hands touched something that felt really good. It could be, for example, a hug from someone you like. It could be a soft fabric on your skin. It could be some warm water or fresh air on your face. Or if you are in summer like me, could be also something cool on your face, something that cools down your face. It could be a pillow, a pet, a nice cup in your hands, whatever. Something, just a nice feel in your fingers, on your skin, something like that, where your bodily sensation felt good. And yeah, before I start those 5 minutes, I'm asking, do you have any questions? I'm still letting some people in. So if I don't hear any questions, I don't see any in the chat. That means we can start the 5 minutes. If you feel more comfortable writing while your camera is off, feel free to switch it off. And I will see you back in 5 minutes for the next prompt. I will give you a warning before the 5 minutes end. Like I will say something like you have 1 minute left. Okay, 5 minutes are starting now. 1 minute left. Okay, we're moving on to the next prompt. And whenever you're writing and I interrupt you and say, like, time is up now, it is, you can always consider this as something that it doesn't have to be complete. It's just like a snapshot of something. And if you feel like, oh, I would love to continue writing now, that's also actually a good sign. And of course, you're always welcome to continue writing after this. So for the next prompt, we are doing a jump into the future. So you will now wake up in a life more beautiful. So the prompt before was kind of a warm-up prompt to get into a good feel of your life, of the recent past or of your present life. And now we are jumping into the future. Imagine you fall asleep now and then you wake up in a life 3 months from now. So I then counted what I said. 3 months from now, that must mean early May. You get to spend a few days there in that life, in your future life. And very quickly, while you're spending some time in your future life and your life 3 months from now, very quickly you notice, wow, this life of mine feels much more beautiful or just better or more okay or more bearable than I expected. I give you a variation of things because sometimes when we're going through a very, very hard time, sometimes it puts too much pressure on us to say, oh, this is so beautiful, this is so great. Sometimes I would say to my partner, have a great day. And he's like, it doesn't feel great at all. I'm like, okay, then have a bearable day. And then like, okay, that feels much better. So sometimes I take, when it feels like too much pressure to, oh, I have to have this beautiful life, I have to have this great life. Sometimes it's just nice when it's a little less terrible. If it's just a bit more bearable or a bit more manageable or a bit more okay. Just okay is good enough too sometimes. It could be also, wow, this life of mine just feels right, just good enough right now. But if you want to dream big, if that feels like the space you can jump into, like it is even more beautiful, like maybe you find your life right now super beautiful anyway, and then just imagine it's just even more beautiful. It's even better than you expected. So you fall asleep, you wake up in that better life of yours, and then write down now just the little scenes from those days. Like, how do you notice that life feels better? How do you notice it in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your actions? How do your body and mind let you know that life is a bit better? Who notices that you're appreciating your life? What do they notice? What do you notice with your senses? Like, what kind of light and colors do you notice? What kind of sounds, smells, scents, touch? What do you notice that tells you that life is good or good enough or better or whatever works for you? This A list of question is not a list that needs to be completed. You don't have to be like, oh, 12 minutes, I have to like check every question, I have to check every box here. It's more, prompts are more like entry points. A lot of times I catch myself when I'm doing my writing session and I'm following my own prompt, that it just opens a door to a room, and then in that room something beautiful happens, and I completely forget about the prompt. I'm just like just enjoying myself in that room, and just write down anything that comes to mind when I'm experiencing that. So sometimes I don't, and then if I kind of try to bring together the answer and the prompt, it's like this has actually nothing to do with each other, but it was very helpful. So you can actually take this as just a door that is meant to open when you hear the prompt. But sometimes when I get stuck in writing, I just go back to the prompts like, there's another nice question that could help me. And then I will use that. So they are supposed to be helpful entry points, but not a list that you have to complete. If you have any questions, please raise your hand now. Otherwise, I will just give us the 12 minutes now. So when 12 minutes are starting, just let yourself be surprised. 1 minute to go. Okay. Now it's time for the next prompt, which is hints that this future is possible. We've got 5 minutes for that. Now, kind of travel back to your life today and the recent past. What in your life right now already shows that this future is possible, or it's even partly here already in your current life? Write about moments, habits, people, places that show you this future is possible or even partly here. Write about actions you're already taking that might pave the way for this future, or write about micro moments with a similar atmosphere, like a similar vibe as you experience in your future life just now. Again, this is not a list to complete, but just entry points that you can follow and then let yourself be surprised in the next 5 minutes. And I'm starting those now, unless you have any questions. All right, starting the 5 minutes now. 1 more minute to go. Final writing prompt. Your inner refuge. 3 minutes. From everything you experienced in today's session on your piece of paper or in your mind, choose one micro moment that simply makes you feel good. It can be from your past, your present, or your future. What do you need to remember about this micro moment to recall it in your head, to be able to recall it also in like future moments? This is an inner refuge you can return to in your mind throughout your day. So we've got 3 minutes just to go. Don't overthink, just pick the first moment that comes to mind and write down something that you want to remember about this moment so that you can recall it. And as I said, it can be from your recent past, from your present, or also it can be also from your past, not only the recent past, or also from the future, because you just experienced your future. Okay, time is starting now. One last minute. Okay, you all made it through the writing session. I'm applauding you. Whoever feels comfortable and able to switch their camera on, I would really appreciate that so that I can see the room is alive. I see a lot of faces coming up. Thank you. I'm gonna post my link again so that you have this. This is the link to my website where I put up the prompts for you, and also a button where you can book a virtual coffee with me if you like to chat about this session afterwards, or about solution focus in general, or about creative writing. Or also, of course, you can also always approach me if you want to book me as a coach or workshop facilitator. But this is the virtual coffee is just to stay in touch and have a chat about things. And now we will have a chat here in this shared space together. I will give you some questions. And as always, this is not a list to complete. You can just take one question that brings up something in you that you might want to share in this room. So, for example, what has surprised you in this writing session? Or want to share a writing snippet? As I said before, your writing is your secret thing. You don't have to share anything. I just want to give you the chance to do, if something happened on paper where you're like, oh, I need to share this. It can be just a beautiful poetic micro moment or whatever, that only share what you feel comfortable with. What has worked well for you in the session? What struck you as solution focused? What might you implement in your life, in your work life as a solution focused practitioner, or in your life aside from your work life, just maybe to nourish your mental well-being? Or what questions are alive in you right now, for me or for the whole group here in the room? Whoever wants to talk, just switch your mic on and start talking. I will give some time, because I know from my own experience from the last sessions here that I always need some time before I start speaking. So we can also sit in silence first, and I will just see who will turn their mic on first.
I can start. I have a very eager little participant here as well, so I hope I'll be able to speak quickly and not be too disruptive. I wanted to say I really loved the question around where we're looking at what are we what is showing that the future is possible, and how are we even partly there? I think that is such a powerful question to ask, because I've found this. I'm still learning and I'm very new in the process. But in the coaching sessions that I've had, I've noticed that a lot of times it's easy to feel a bit stuck, because we're doing this future, the miracle question, or even if it's like we're thinking about what's going to be better, right? And it can feel expansive, but like you said, sometimes it's just like what's bearable, and I think that's also it's just a good tool to have, that like a different scale of things, and to then notice the strengths and the things that we already have and that we can then already enjoy. And I don't know if someone else wants to chime in, feel free. If not, the first thing that comes up for me when we're talking about noticing feeling on our skin, I love that reflection. And for me, it's always having the tip of my nose in the cheek of my son. That little warm cheek that's like really smooth. This bit here is the best. But there's
Thank you for
plenty, obviously, of
demonstrating.
experience. But yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this tiny poetic micro moment. Thank you, and for demonstrating it. Who else wants to share something, ask a question?
I would like to share something. It was very similar to Felicia's last comment there. So I'm a counselor, and I do a lot of artwork with my clients. I'll get them to do it. And for years, I've always been amazed at how when you get them to just not give it much thinking, just start drawing something. And it's just their creative mind, in a sense, putting something on a piece of paper. And then when you get them to step back and start to critique what their creative being is put on a piece of paper, all of a sudden there's so much meaning in there. And it kind of blows them away. How can there be that much meaning in that? That's what happened for me here. A little bit like
Wow.
Felicity was saying, I was remembering running my fingers through my dog's furry mane on her collar. And this was just a few days ago, and I was thinking about how incredibly healthy she is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can feel the emotion. And I was realizing how that's all from the whole family pouring their love and care into her. It's almost like it's a big united project. It blew me away how it all kind of fit together. So yeah, that was my experience. It was amazing. So thanks for that.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Yeah, this like diving into the senses is something that I came up with in a time where I was having a really hard time in my life, and I felt it was too much pressure for me to just think about a moment when I was okay or happy, but just think about like something nice that I smelled or something nice that I touched. So that's what I did with you, or something, or just a nice sound that I heard. And that, like, narrowing it to a poetic micro moment is in those, especially in those harder times, very helpful for me, but it's always helpful anyway. Anyone else wants to share something? Where we have like about 3 minutes left. I also posted the link for the Padlet and the coffee bar in the chat. Anyone else wants to say some final words?
Just really wanted to say thank you for sharing such beautiful journal questions, because I'm quite a prolific journaler myself, and to sit with these questions that were so solution focused and so beautiful, and especially what Monty shared about like being grounded in the thought of the touch and senses and things like that brought to mind so many beautiful experiences. And it made me really excited to incorporate that into my own journaling and learning journaling practices, because instead of whenever I would look back at my old journals, they always were filled with so much sad emotions. I would feel so sad looking back at all of the heaviness that I was pouring out, and it was helpful. But to now have a way to be able to look back with curiosity and to see the joyful moments and to just have this different perspective is incredibly valuable. So thank you so much for sharing such, incredible work with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for participating, for sharing some of your experiences here. This has been a lot of fun, and it's been actually very touching for me now to hear you share those writing experiences and so on, and how you're going to implement it. So maybe I see you in the coffee bar, that's where I'm headed now, or in another session. We've still got a lot of conference ahead of us, which I'm very excited for. See you soon.
Yara,
Thank you so much. Fantastic session. Really well done, Katti.
Thank you.
And I will see you. I think I'm gonna jump off now. I'm gonna try and catch the one. I think it's 7, if I can't get in earlier. But I will see you either at a coffee or virtual chat.
We don't even have to have a virtual coffee. We can have a real person.
Exactly. The luxury of being in the same place. I'll have a wonderful day in the meantime.
You too. So get in touch, please, because I don't have your contact details.
That's all right. And if you want, Ashley, I'll just chuck it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will contact you, but just so you have something as well.
Great. Thank you.
I'll head off. See you soon. Take care.
Too. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.